What's good, Internet? My name is attackslug. Welcome to my SummerSlam 2020 predictions video. You'll never see it coming. Presented in the ThunderDome tomorrow evening on WWE Network, etc., etc. First and foremost, let me know who you think's gonna win down in the comments below. There are currently 8 matches confirmed. Pre-show? Who knows? We'll see. But I'll get down here to the 8 matches that are announced for this show and make some predictions, perhaps some bold predictions, because you don't know what's going to happen here. It could be anything. We have Retribution lurking in the background, so any match card you predict could be completely turned on its head. You never know. But what I do know is we have Apollo Crews taking on MVP for the US title. And importantly, because of the actions on Raw, we have Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley are banned from ringside. So you would think, oh man, this should be a one-on-one endeavor, and if that was the case, then Crews can't lose. But they've sown the seeds here. So they've only said that Benjamin and Lashley are banned from ringside. They haven't said anybody else is banned from ringside, so what if somebody else, like say a Cedric Alexander, were to join the Hurt Business? Then yes, you would see MVP winning that US title that he paid thousands and thousands of dollars for. That is my pick, is that somebody else joins the Hurt Business, perhaps Cedric, and MVP gets the win here, continuing this ongoing feud, etc., etc. So, moving on to this match, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, originally booked as a hair versus hair match. They've changed that. As of last night's SmackDown, they've upped the ante. It is now a no DQ, loser leaves WWE. And we know by Shane McMahon coming back and not acknowledging that he lost one of those last year, that stipulation doesn't mean anything. Now, I will give you my thoughts on the original stipulation here, right? When it was hair versus hair, you could have seen a reality where Mandy Rose loses, and then out comes Otis and says, you know what, I'll do anything. I don't want my Peach to have her head shaved. I will give you this Money in the Bank briefcase to Sonya. And you would say, wait a minute, you can't do that. But again, the tagline is, you'll never see it coming. So it's wrestling. They can do anything they want for any reason they want, and as a fan, all you can do is watch. Complain, but watch, right? So, if it was still hair versus hair, that would have made some sense, because I just don't see Otis winning with that cash-in, or losing, honestly, so it's weird. He's in a weird spot, because he's not really a main event guy, but he still holds the briefcase, right? And he's held it for like a third of the contract now, and they kind of have really not mentioned it all that often. So, with the actual current stipulation, and given the real-life almost tragedy with Sonya and her stalker and everything else, I think Sonya loses here and takes some time off, definitely moves where she currently lives from to somewhere else, because I don't know how long can they keep that guy in prison or, you know, locked up or whatever else. How long can they actually take him out of the equation where she can feel safe and return to work feeling safe? So, that being said, I think Mandy wins this match and Sonya gets a little break to get her actual life in order, because having your actual life in order is more important than any wrestling angle. So yeah, having built up that long for hair versus hair only to have this thing happen last week and everything get changed last minute sucks, but here we are. That's life sometimes, and life sucks. And here comes the Poison Pixie Candice LeRae interfering in this no-holds-barred, no-DQ matchup on behalf of Mandy, who just got worn out with a chair. What is happening? Let's move on. So, we have a street fight between Dominic and Seth freaking Rollins. It is the first match for Dominic, and wow, that was a weird finish, but okay. All those chair shots, what did you expect? Put your hair up and square up. So Dominic versus Seth Rollins in a street fight. The first in-ring official match from Dominic in the WWE, and it's a street fight. Again, no DQ, anything goes. You could see interference. I expect to see interference here from both Rey Mysterio and Buddy Murphy, but I think perhaps what turns the tides here and wins the match for Dominic would be the return of Aleister Black, and then moving into an Aleister Black and Seth Rollins feud going into the fall make a lot of sense to me. But I think if you have all this build-up and you didn't have Dominic join Seth's little cult thing, then have him win and then send him to NXT to get his proper training as he moves on up in the world of professional wrestling. So yes, Dominic gets the win here over Seth freaking Rollins. Now, we have a pair of women's title matches that both involve the Empress of Tomorrow challenging the SmackDown and Raw women's champions in the same night. And as of last night, we now know the order in who will defend those belts first. Bayley goes up first, defending the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then Sasha goes second, defending the Raw Women's Championship, both against Asuka. And you could, in some reality, see Asuka 2 belts by the end of the night. I don't think that'll be the case. What I do think will happen with these matches happening on the card, I would hope not back-to-back, like spread them out, like, you know, near the open and near the close would make a lot of sense, but it's WWE and who knows? In the ThunderDome, who knows, right? But here's the thing. Guess who's not been around that they predicted would be back around SummerSlam? That's right, the Queen. Don't think I forgot. They said, oh, time off, coming back around SummerSlam. It's SummerSlam, and the Queen will make her glorious return here, but I think that it does not make any sense for Asuka to beat Bayley, right? So that's where I think it's the you'll never see it coming swerve, is that she'll lose to Bayley. Perhaps interference, perhaps shenanigans, perhaps whatever, right? But then she'll beat Sasha Banks later on in the evening. You would think it'd be the opposite, that you would have the advantage in that first match, and then obviously in the second one, not so much because you're already beat up. But again, you'll never see it coming. Because to me, it seems like we will get down the line, perhaps, you know, the next couple of shows here, we will see Naomi challenging Bayley, and then Charlotte challenging Asuka, because you can run the story that Asuka can't beat Charlotte. And now Asuka is champion, you're raising the stakes on that match. Oh, I'm the champion, I won it legit from Sasha, but now here comes the Queen, who I just can't beat, and that tells a good story. Having Asuka as the SmackDown champion, what's the story there, right? So, again, that's just my thoughts, but who knows, because Retribution could spoil everything in every match the whole night. We just don't know. It could be anything, folks. And so, we move on to the Raw Tag Team titles. That is your champions, the Street Profits. They want the smoke versus Andrade and Angel Garza. And in any other scenario, despite the poisoning, in any other scenario in a tag team match like this for the tag team titles, I would say the Profits win this match. Unless we see Retribution or somebody else interfering in the match or causing some kind of chaos in the arena, I think Profits retain these titles. And again, both tag divisions during the Corona era are just kind of thin, but sure, you will have the Profits retain those titles. And Braun with the, I was going to say, with the Chris Jericho pin, but no, he did the Big Show walk over him. Well, so, after that we have our 2 title matches. Uh-oh. Let me in. That's great. Braun Strowman, your Universal Champion, takes on The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. So we finally got here after months and months. We had Original Bray, we had Swamp Bray, and now we have The Fiend after a very long segment on SmackDown last night. And that kind of just went on for way too long, right? But I would imagine at some point Alexa gets involved here, perhaps as a proper Harley Quinn type character. She's been changed by The Fiend, and that costs Braun the match. But after you had The Fiend lose to Goldberg in Saudi. You can't be having that again. Fiend needs to win here. Like, if you're going to invest in the Fiend character long term, and the reasons behind his powers, he can't lose this match. Fiend has to win this match. Otherwise, what's the point? Again, there could be Alexa Bliss shenanigans that cost either Braun Strowman or The Fiend this match. But at the end of the night, if The Fiend's not champion, what are you doing, right? Unless they want to extend this feud even further, which they could, but it's the biggest show of the summer in the ThunderDome, so I would hope that The Fiend would win this match. Now, is Braun heel? Is Fiend face? Was there a double turn there? Maybe. But regardless, that is my pick for that match. Now, Drew McIntyre, the champion, the WWE champion, takes on Randy Orton. And the question you have to ask yourself here is, do they truly, and really and truly, want to have Randy Orton get to 16 times and then tie and then perhaps surpass Ric Flair's record? Mandible Claw, that might be it. Or do they want to have Drew continue to dominate? Because unfortunately, Drew has not gotten his proper due in having a crowd behind him with the belt on his shoulder. He hasn't gotten that proper crowd reaction in being the champion, and that sucks. Now, is that a reason to keep the belt on him until whenever we get crowds back? Which at this point, who freaking knows? That one's hard to call. But generally, I think McIntyre retains the belt here against a very game Randy Orton. It is still too early for an Edge interference because he's still healing up that arm deal, right? But I don't see, unless they really and truly want to have an eventual match between Randy Orton and John Cena, who are both 16-time champions, for who gets to break Ric Flair's record, because that'd be amazing. I don't think John Cena cares at this point to even want to do that and be in the ring shape to do that, Mr. Movie Star John Cena. So, that being the case, McIntyre retains here, continues his impressive run. Perhaps shenanigans, perhaps retribution, so it's not a clean victory, right? But Drew, at the end of the night, still champion. That's my pick. And Fiend gonna pin Braun Strowman for a 3 count. I called it. That's what I said. There we go. I'm Attack Slug. Thanks for watching. Let me know who you think's gonna win down in the comments below. I'll see you next time, right here. More videos. SummerSlam is tomorrow. And I'm out.